Okay, here we go. Well, welcome again, everybody, and thank you for joining us today on our fourth installment of our live demo and presentation. My name is Jeff Baldwin. I cover the central U.S. We have facilities, coverage, representation throughout the U.S., Australia, Asia, South America, Europe, Canada, basically throughout the world. If you have any questions during the presentation here, feel free to ask them, but also you'll have an opportunity with your local representative who will be listed if you want to reach out to them directly. One of my responsibilities here is to continue with outreach and education to prospective clients, but also loyal dealers and customers. Not only regarding our product improvements, but also in product capabilities in various applications outside of oil and gas. The RC series has been our flagship product for over 21 years. We have standard units of 10, 12, 16, 20, and 25 metric ton lift capabilities. They've primarily been used in the oil and gas market. And many of you are aware or use the RC for stringing or laying pipe, but did you know there's a wide variety of other applications? We have been used at ports and waterways, offloading pipe from barges. We have an example of our core product, stringing and handling pipe on the right-of-way, but we've also expanded to water and utility. Here we're handling a 50-inch cement-lined polyurethane-coated steel pipe. Another emerging market is for concrete, highway, bridge deck, runway removal, and either using a flat pad or our octopad system. We've even done custom pads like you see here, exceeding 60,000 pound lift. And of course, we have several options to handle steel plate. With various shapes, sizes, we've done our largest custom lift, lifting 93,000 pounds of 10-inch thick steel plate. And again, we have our standard units and standard pad sizes, but because we design, engineer, fabricate everything in-house, the custom projects are really second nature to us. So if you have something that doesn't fit into the box, please reach out and we'll try to help you. Now, over the years, we've made running improvements to our line of RC lifters to respond to new technology or industry requirements, such as we've added the remote start, we've got a blue valve, and we now have a Tier 4 compliant engine. However, as we approached our 20-year anniversary, we took a deep dive into our product and talked with our customers to find out what they'd like to see either done better or done different. At the start of 2020, we introduced our newly redesigned RC series, which incorporates the best of what we've learned. We're going to highlight some of these changes today, starting from our adapter, our belt drive system, our CAN bus system, and our virtual circuitry. Now, this stuff gets pretty technical and a little above me, so I brought in some help today. I'd like to welcome Keith Sparks. Keith, come on in. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, good.
You're welcome. Keith is a design engineer here, and he's been the bridge really from what the customers have said, what they've asked for, and can he design it, implement it, and everything has to be geared towards our core belief of safety and keeping people out of harm's way. So the changes were made with safety in mind, efficiency, and then also easier for the customer to use. So today, we'll start at the top, and our first improvement is with our adapter. Keith, you want to talk about our adapter a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So we have the removable top caps. You'll see here a little closer in a minute. We also have the flow control valve. It's down a little bit lower, a little bit easier to reach now, and the replaceable tombstones for easier replacement in the future.
Good. That's a brief showing. One of the things we've done as a team, and by the way, if anybody has questions, we kind of have 4 segments here, and we'll take questions at the end of each segment, but then also if there's general questions or anything, please feel free to submit it, and we'll address all those at the end. What the team has done here to kind of highlight what this change means and how it could affect you is we've done a side-by-side video with the old way and the new way. The old way is time-lapse, and the new way is in real time. So please take a look at that. and Keith will talk a little bit about the process to what you're seeing.
Sure, so you can see here with the replaceable top caps, you've got the excavator actually picking up all the heavy stuff, the pin and the spacers and bushings and so forth. It makes it a whole lot easier to get this thing put together. Over on the right-hand side, you'll see that they've, that they're trying to get some alignment done and so forth. This, the replaceable top caps makes the alignment quite a bit easier as well. Well, here in a minute, you're going to see that these guys are going to have to hammer that pin in there. Anybody that's put one of these in has probably done that. That's no longer a thing. Now all of a sudden, you just put it together and screw these caps down, and it's super easy.
I would guess the pin isn't super light either, is it?
Oh, it's really not. I'd say one of our lighter ones is nearly 100 pounds.
Okay. So less time you have to spend carrying and lugging that thing around?
Sure. I don't want to climb a ladder with a 100-pound pin, do you?
No, I can't. The other thing that I noticed on this, it looks like a pretty ideal setting. Flat surface, easy. That's not what we see on the right of way, is it? How does this help in real world environment?
It's pretty awesome there too. So again, with the excavator actually holding the pin, it aids in alignment. So these things are very often off kilter from one another, and
right.
this the excavator can actually push down just a little bit to cause alignment, and now all of a sudden you're not hammering a pin in place.
Good. And that's the best part. The real world, we can do stuff in the lab all day, but until we get feedback on what it's like out there, what you're experiencing, then we can make those changes, and I'm glad that we've addressed this. A lot of the world had been dedicated equipment to, so they'd be 3-4 months, didn't have to worry about change out. So do it once, and the next 4 months you're okay. But as we've gone into the construction market and really geared ourselves to, or set ourselves up to have quicker interchange, quicker change of attachments and things. So we're really excited about this new design. I guess we'll go to see if we have a couple questions, and we've got a couple coming in. The first question is, does it work with different size pins, or is it a one size fits all?
It actually, I guess, kind of both. It works with different size pins. Right now we're at 80 millimeter to 120 millimeters is
okay.
what it'll directly fit with bushings and spacers.
So we've addressed a lot of the standard sizes, so pin, a couple bushings.
Sure, and that doesn't stop you from doing something custom. If you get something bigger or smaller, of course, hit us up. We can do whatever you need.
Okay, great. On to the second question. Read it as it says. Love the idea of removable tops. Do they have a specific torque requirement?
They do. These bolts actually are, they have a good environmental coating on them, so it's going to be a little bit lower than you would think. It's 170 foot-pounds. 170
foot-pounds. And again, we'll include that in the literature. It'll have all the torque requirements of any applicable bolts. Can I switch out my existing adapter for this one?
Absolutely. It is direct replacement.
So it fits right in?
Fits right in.
Swap out?
Every unit that we've had, this piece will fit.
Good. That's a great part of the design, is to make it interchangeable. Can we order, the fourth question, can we order the new flow control unit and put it on our existing adapter?
Absolutely you can. So as mentioned, the flow control unit, it does make it so it's nice and easy to reach. I can imagine anybody might want this thing. All you're going to have to do is drill a couple of 1/4-20 holes.
Good. So that's another one. You kind of went over it pretty quickly, but tell me a little bit more about how the change in that flow control helps in real life.
Well, so you can imagine if you do need to adjust the thing, and if it's mounted where it used to be mounted, it would be way back up on the arm of the excavator. Or
so you have to climb up.
You got to climb up, or you're using a ladder, or you're doing some weird stuff to get to it. You can imagine muddy boots on a ladder, that's no fun. So in this case, it's literally about as high as these 3 bolts are. Maybe this is actually kind of high. You can lower it down a little more and literally just reach up and be able to adjust the thing. So it makes it really easy to adjust from the ground.
So less people climbing up, quicker, and
way faster,
more efficient.
Yep, and it's got some protections involved as well. If you ever had a pressure spike that could hurt something, it's not just a flow control, it's a pressure protection device as well.
Awesome. Way to think of everything. Good job. We're going to go on to our second improvement. Thank you. And again, if you have any further questions, feel free to ask at the end. And now we're going to go on to our second one, which is our belt drive. And once again, I'm going to hand a lot of this over to Keith. But Keith, can you tell me about the belt drive, what it means, why the change?
Yeah, well, so why the change? Basically, we wanted to we wanted to listen to the customer, right? We wanted to make sure that we were able to make things, more environment friendly and so forth. So this thing doesn't have any oil that needs to be changed. We wanted to make it last longer between actually having to service the thing or even replace the parts due to wear. This item goes quite a bit longer than it used to. It's a pretty good improvement.
Well, when you say environmentally friendly, we've taken oil out of the equation, right?
Sure.
That's the part that you were.
Oh yeah, we've taken oil out of the equation. There's no more oil to change. There's no spills, no nothing. I mean, it's really simple.
And it has a lasting effect on the engine because we're running at cooler temperatures, right?
So that's actually pretty cool as well. So with the belt drive, everything ended up in a different orientation, and being that new orientation, the engine bit stays quite a bit cooler.
And that again is longer life.
Much longer life on even all the surrounding components, because as you know, heat kills everything.
Right. Well, we're super excited about this. We have a couple of questions that have come in. How often do you have to replace the belt?
Okay. So the belt is about every 6,000 hours. It's really that kind of pushes you out to 2 years or more, maybe more. And really, I'd probably suggest checking it on periodic checks and that kind of thing, just to be sure that nothing's gone on or nothing's slipped in there like a little piece of gravel or something. But really, we're only estimating about 6,000 hours is when you'll have to look at it.
So the daily, you can put that into part of your daily check routine.
It could be daily. It's worth a visual. Like if you're checking the engine oil, go ahead and look at it. But I wouldn't really want to take the cover off and do any serious inspection. But maybe once every few months. Maybe.
Quick visual. Yeah. But if you had to, we got a little bit of the cover here. But if you did want to get in there, just 4 bolts, open that up, and you can check the condition.
Sure. You can see it's got the visual windows there, so you'll be able to look through the windows and check and see if you've got any dry rotting or if a mud dauber's built a nest in there, just silly stuff like that. That's a quick visual check that you can do whenever you want.
Good. Okay, next question. Can my lifter be retrofitted with the belt drive in lieu of a gearbox?
Yeah, absolutely it can, but there's a little caveat.
There's a but?
Yeah, there's a but. You're going to need a new Kubota engine to go with that, unless you already have a new Kubota engine. It hasn't been designed to work with with a lot of the older engines that we've used in the past. So if you need a new Kubota engine, you're a candidate for the belt drive, yes.
Okay, so I guess summarize it. If your engine is at the tail end of its life and you want to replace that, then you're basically available for the upgrade to the belt drive system. Okay, any other questions on that? Okay, it looks like we're all right. Okay, so on to improvement 3. This is our CAN bus system. And the other 2 I think I could have answered and gone through, but this I could not. So again, a lot of technology that's been introduced to this lifter. And Keith, can you tell us what the CAN bus is, what does it mean, and share with everybody what we have going on here.
Sure. So the CAN bus system, that basically is just a network so that the brains of this operation can contact the peripheries and be able to monitor them. They talk back and forth for diagnostics and so forth. You can see here on the screen we have the actual dashboard itself. This is going to be the interface that you guys see. What we're currently pointing at is the on and off switch. That's how you're going to park the thing and put it away for the night, turn it back on and so forth. Now we're pointing at the fuel gauge. The fuel gauge, it's just got a number of bars, tells you the percentage of fuel that you've got going on there, and you'll even get a warning when that goes low. Currently pointing at the engine hours. That unit's brand new, so it says 0. That'll count over time. You'll end up with oil change warning at about 250. So every 250 hours, that thing will start to tell you you need to change your oil. Here we have the pressure reading. Okay, so across the top there, you can see that we've got an array of colors. Well, that matches our old analog gauge, which is still on the other side of the machine as well. But you're used to this red, yellow, green setup here. Well, we still have that with the new gauge. Even have a little pointer there that we're pointing at, so you can see it sort of acts like an analog gauge as well. But for those that want to see an actual number, we're also displaying the actual number for what your pressure level is.
Just real quick on that, we're trying to keep that simple on the gauge. Red, yellow, green is kind of like our stoplight. Red, not lift. Yellow, you're getting there, and green, you're good to live.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And of course, yellow does not mean Florida.
No, yellow does not mean Florida. But you get there, right?
Yeah. So here's an example. We induced a failure so you could see the check engine light, and we have a little bit of a fault code there. We've got multiple faults that can be displayed. It's going to, depending on the level of fault, it might even give you a light up top and a warning. Or if it's something simple like you need to change your oil or whatever, you're just going to get a light, and you could continue until you're ready to change your oil.
Good. So everything from preventive maintenance all the way on up to we're not safe to live.
Absolutely.
Okay. Kind of runs the gamut. Is there a way to look at it and say, okay, this is something I can handle myself, or hey, this code's a little more serious, I need to call Vacuworx service department?
Sure. Actually, so the dashboard gauge is going to scroll through its error codes right where the engine hours are displayed. So what you'll see is you'll see the engine hours, and then it's going to scroll over to a code, and if there's multiple codes, it'll start scrolling through the codes and then back to engine hours again. What you would do is you would look at those codes, maybe write them down, and look at your user manual. Your user's manual is going to tell you what that code really means. So there's no need to go buy some kind of code reader or something like that. It's all done right here.
No
it's
extra
equipment. No extra equipment, no extra cost. It just tells you what's wrong with it. How cool would it be if Jimmy did that or something, right? I mean, come on.
Right.
But the long and the short of it is, yeah. So that's kind of how that works. It's going to tell you what the fault is, and so once you've gone through your list and you've determined, is that something I can handle? Can I change my oil? Okay, go ahead and do it. Can I fix this sensor or something? If you're not comfortable doing that, well then of course you're going to give us a call on the phone number listed right there next to those error codes, and we'll help you. All you got to do is tell us what the code is, and we can help you even faster.
Well, that's really what's exciting about this. Quick to instant diagnosis, which could result in less downtime, keep you up and running faster. It allows us, if it gets a little more serious, we can diagnose based off the error code and do everything we can to get you up and running immediately. So it's will really help out in that. And again, everybody knows that nothing good comes about with downtime. So that's what we want to do about minimizing downtime. Well, that's a good overview there, and we've got a couple questions that have come in. Well, we kind of addressed it, but the first question is, can you guys troubleshoot over the phone?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If it's something that you didn't even want to do, you can't find your manual or whatever, just call us up and tell us what the thing is saying, and we can troubleshoot it for you and get you some parts out.
A list of your error codes will help get us there.
Yeah, it'll help us do it faster.
Okay. What do I do if the system shuts down my machine?
Well, same sort of thing. You would want to diagnose the thing, use the self-diagnostics, and basically see if it's something that can be corrected in the field, and then you'd want to give us a call if it's something that you can't repair yourself. If it does shut down the machine, though, it's only going to be for things that are danger related, right? So anything that I wouldn't want to make the next lift for, that's when it would lock things out. So if there was something that might compromise the safety of the next lift, we're not going to allow that next lift.
We're all about efficiency and moving forward, but if it gets to a point where it's not safe, we're going to stop the process.
Sure.
Okay. That's good. One of the things, so we talked about 4 improvements, and we kind of had our 3 bullet points and kind of went over the 4th one. But the 4th one is our virtual circuitry. So it's really, and I might get in trouble, but it's kind of the brains behind the user interface that we get to see here. How do we arrive at all this information through the CAN bus system? How does it get to here? And again, Keith, if you can go over that and tell why we're so excited about having this virtual circuitry, what it could mean to the guys, and again, how it can help.
Sure, and you were right. That is a user interface is what you're seeing on the dashboard. There is a controller in the background that is feeding that thing information. It's also doing all of the checking. So it's checking for error codes, it's checking for everything, including the virtual circuitry. That is being checked by the CAN bus system controller as well. So this virtual circuitry, it's really pretty neat. It cleans up the entire wiring harness. So no longer do we have fuses and relays and diodes and all sorts of things out on a harness somewhere doing the job. It's all being done right here and monitored right here. And if there ever was a fault, say something silly happens, like a squirrel chews a wire or something, that CAN bus system is monitoring that virtual circuitry and giving you error codes on the virtual circuitry.
Well, I don't know if that last part was in English, but to me it sounds like less parts, and a better way to diagnose if something does go wrong.
Sure, and it's even safer. You're not going to have wires trying to smoke out if something does decide to cross over. That virtual circuitry keeps everything from smoking. So if it hits a certain amperage level, we turn that circuit off and give you an error code and say, hey, you need to fix that before something burns. We're not allowing wires to smoke and burn the way older machines may do.
I understand that part, just not amperage and diodes. So, but thanks for getting into detail. And again, if you have any specific questions about this, we have access points throughout that you can reach out to and find out a little bit more of. And so again, we want to thank everybody for joining, and we'll look to see if there's any questions here at the end. But kind of an overview, the design changes and what we've done, and then also the expansion into markets outside of our core product and process. So we'll take a look at the lifter, and I meant to point to this a minute ago. This is where the CAN bus system is located on the unit. So, but as we look through this, we start from the top down, and again we have the new adapter. We have some of the internal stuff, the belt drive, the virtual circuitry, and but then just some things that we've done over the years, part of that listening and learning. So we've added the fork pockets so we can be more versatile to work with the host equipment that you have. We've added, before we used to have a crate, and now we've added an integrated leg system so you can store your lifter.
Particularly useful if you're stringing miles and miles of pipe. You don't have to drag it
Right, you don't have to drag a cradle with you. You can safely store it. And then the other thing, when we were talking a little bit about different applications. So if you had an RC unit, we mainly geared towards pipe, but you had steel plate or maybe a concrete project that you wanted to use it. It's just a couple quick pins here, change from a pipe pad to a flat pad, and you're off and running. So we hope that all these changes have been beneficial, again, to safety, but also we want to work on efficiency and diversity in application and host machine. So, okay, we have a question. Can you tell me how many lifts a lifter has done with the new system?
Absolutely. We're also monitoring for that as well. So
Okay.
It'll tell you what the number of lifts has been. It's being logged as part of the kind of the engine hours counter. It's only displayed for the first few seconds. After about 3 seconds, it comes on for about another 3 seconds. So when you first turn your machine on, you'll see its number of lifts that it has done in its life.
Good, and that could be invaluable, whether it's a rental unit, you can keep track of lifts and age in addition to the engine hours.
Oh, sure. And like you were talking about the lugs and stuff in the bottom, if somebody calls in and says, you know, hey, I kind of wonder about this, can you tell me a little bit about it? You can say, well, all right, tell me how many lifts has your machine done, and we can kind of help you through that process.
So again, quicker to diagnose and help in the problem. Yeah, that's a great tool. What do the lights up top do?
The lights up top. So that's another interesting change. I guess I sort of forgot to mention that, but the lights are actually quite a bit different than they used to be. The way they were in the past, your amber light would tell you that something isn't quite right, you're not ready to lift, or something else. Your green light tells you basically that the amber light is off, that you're ready to go. That's one of the major changes that we've done. So the communication to the user is now, amber light means something is wrong. Something is not ready to go, just like it used to be. But the green light does not come on automatically when everything's okay. The green light is now only a pad monitor. When the pad has made seal and you're in lift mode, the green light will come on if the seal has been made and it is ready to lift, that the pressure has been made safe to lift.
So again, part of our safety and redundant safety, either through the audio or visual alarm system, to make sure you know everything's good to go. Do we have anything else coming in?
You got some toys over there.
Yeah, I do have a quick toy. So I guess a brief part, if somebody's not familiar, but all this can be activated from the cab through our remote system. So not only do we start, we talked about the remote start earlier, but also the lift and release functions are in this. So again, we're minimizing personnel needed to be on or around the pipe, or anywhere near it really, and that's part of our overall goal of keeping people out of harm's way.
There's some other stuff I haven't mentioned there as well on your remote.
Yeah.
So on the remote, as far as the camera system goes, when your engine oil light comes on, that might be the next thing somebody's going to ask us is, well, okay, the oil light came on and changed the oil. How do I reset that light so it comes on in the next $250? There's a couple of buttons you can hold on this thing. It'll be in your manual. You hold a couple of buttons down on this thing and it resets your engine light so that you know that you've changed your oil and it's counting another 250 hours from that.
We start from that point, and then 250. Constant calculation. And then I always like to, again, if people aren't overly familiar, what the commonality between whether you're lifting pipe, this cement line water utility pipe, concrete, steel plate, the thing that is the go-between between what we're lifting and our unit is this pad seal. And so this is our H-lock design, and we put so much effort into this. It's got to be a little bit of everything. It is what separates 1,700 pounds or 70,000 pounds. So a lot of work goes into making this just right. Pliable, strong enough, can handle temperatures ranging from -20 up to 120, 130 degrees. So it has to be able to do it all, and we ask a lot of this, and we're very proud of where we are with it. So hopefully we've shown you some really cool things that we're excited about, how they all relate to a safer process and a more efficient process in whatever you're doing. If there's anything we can help with, we would love to take questions, answer, and see if we can help you out in whatever new application you have. So if nothing else, we thank you tremendously for giving up some of your day. Have a good weekend. Stay safe and healthy.